Welcome everybody. Just reading Niels' comment. It's made me chuckle. Let's go on there, let's get it going. Oh, you're funny. There you go, made it a bit bigger so people can read Niels' comment. Can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. As long as you can, we'll carry on. Been a busy day today. Loud and clear. Hello Chris, we can hear you. Hope you're well, Chris. I saw you, was it yourself that commented on a video today? Can't remember what it was now. I've been away and stuff, so it's been difficult for me to, oh, not that. It's been difficult to try and get onto the comments and stuff like that to be able to reply to everybody. So I'm hoping to try and get round to it as soon as I can. So everyone can hear me loud and clear. I'm now just going through everything on my phone because I've been busy and I've got so many. It's fine. Right. Did everyone enjoy the Open? Anyone who's watching, give me their opinion on what you thought about the Open, first of all. And then we'll discuss it because it is all about the Waggles. What did everyone think of it? I mean, I watched it and I mean, I can sit on the fence on this one because, yeah, I understand that it is the Open and obviously you're going into the last day. I mean, he waggled all the way through and it worked. Don't get me wrong, it worked. It did. It settled him and he hit some decently good shots. Everyone else was making mistakes and he made mistakes as well, but he just made fewer, and when he did make mistakes he came back as normal with them. So you could argue, should everybody waggle? From now on we're all waggling together. What did everyone think of the Waggles? I'll get over to the screen I want to. There we go. Apparently my Stream Elements bot is running. Thank you, Stream Elements. What good you actually do. Chris says, yes, it was about Cobra clubs. Yeah, I'll have to go on. Let's see if I can find it. Did I reply? I don't know if I did. I replied to a few today, but I just didn't get a chance to do, because I've been doing a video today, and I don't mind saying, because obviously it's, doing the live streams, you kind of have access to what I've been up to and what I'm doing, and I just did a video today, and I got to finish off editing, etc. But about how to keep the golf ball lower in the wind, how to change your setup, and then also what you have to be aware of when it comes to wrist angles. And for the people that, do you know what one of these are? One of these is one of, you know what I mean. We'll see. I did. Okay, Chris, that's good. I did reply, which makes me feel better. Does anyone know what that little black box of tricks, that little wonder is? Because it is a wonder, to be fair. I'm going to do a full review of it when someone guesses what this is. I'm giving a massive kind of, the fact that it says it on the front. Everyone's now rapidly going on Google and going, what is it? Quickly, let's write it in Google for people that don't know. The Hack Motion, yeah, that's what it is. It's a wrist sensing tool. So the wrist angles nowadays are a sexy word, a sexy phrase when it comes to modern day tuition, and having a device which directly measures wrist angles throughout the whole part of the swing is an incredible thing. It really, really is. If you've got individuals where before you're looking at having to go through slow, very, very, very slow-mo footage to learn what they're doing throughout the whole swing, now you can graphically and numerically understand exactly what someone's doing with their wrist angles throughout the whole swing, even through past impact and up into follow-through. And obviously, remember, these are the last joint. I mean, okay, you could argue your fingers, but you're holding on to the golf club, so there's very little you're actually doing when it comes to your fingers. But it's your wrists. Your wrists can go through 6 points of movement and they are quite important. So that I have a review coming soon, as in I've done a video today about how to keep the ball, golf ball low in the wind, or lower in the wind, using it, but I've got a proper full-on, I don't know if it's going to be, what do they use it? Teams meeting? Is it a Teams they'd use? Or Google Meet? Can't remember. Google Meet, I think it is. Have a proper sit down with the engineers and to go through exactly how everything works and stuff like that. So when it comes to doing a full review, at least I can give you as much of the up-to-date, useful information as possible. But that's what I've been up to today, and that's what I've been up to when it comes to testing this little thing out. I mean, this is great, this little thing is. It's not cheap. Well, when I say not cheap, they do in 3 different tiers. I've got the most expensive one, so it's not cheap. But then I could see that thing there being used by amateurs, because it does everything. I mean, they're different tiers, so you're talking about different tiers doing different amounts of measuring of different angles. So if you want the full-blown trail and lead wrist option, you can go for the Pro. And then if you just want to understand what you're doing with your wrist angles into impact and stuff, you can just opt for the cheaper one. It does exactly the same thing. Basically, just more money gives you more functionality and the ability on the full-blown one to do trail or lead wrist. And then also it does putting as well, which is quite interesting, but I need to spend some time on that. So, there we go, make sure everything's working. Now, so depending on what's going on today, I have got a little bit of free time, but I've got editing to do. So depending on the amount of people that are watching, depending on the amount of questions that I get, depending on a lot of things, I will either stop it early or I will carry on, and I will do I'd say a marathon. I'll do a decent sized live stream. I have the capability, should I have the capability, possibly to do a 4-hour one. Although I've done 4 hours and 20 minutes before. So you never know, I might do it, I don't know. It depends if I run out of liquid refreshment, questions to answer, or anything else like that, because I do know there's a turnover of viewers through different parts of the world, work, obviously, because we're not all lucky like me when it's a case of it's now 20 to 8 in the evening and everyone's finished work for the day. Different people are doing work at different times, and so yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But let's have a little wee look. Any questions or anything else like that before we start talking about the, well, let's tell you what we'll do. What we'll do is we'll go get the, Kieran, hello Kieran, even mate, early night is needed for you tonight. No questions from me tonight, just a beer and a bath. You can ask questions if you want, I don't mind. I'm quite happy to answer the questions. Now, when it comes to really what I should do, I mean, I know it's bad for the algorithm when it comes to YouTube and all that lot. It would be quite good if I could do all the comments that everyone has or has asked when it comes to my YouTube videos for the previous week. The problem I've got is with that is obviously not everyone who comments tunes into the live streams, and then so they still don't get their comments answered and stuff. But there you go, one of those things. I need to work out a better way of doing it. But yeah, feel free to ask anything you'd like. But let's go over to quickly. Let's go whilst the queries and comments and questions are relatively quiet. Oh, I said the Q word, I go crazy now, but have a look at this. So, oh, do I transition? I'll fade that one in. If I transition on, you get kaleidoscopes and everything. Now, that might come out very small, because it's even small on my screen. But effectively, you've got, oh, I might have to make that bigger, because that might just drive me mental if not. How about that? Let's just, I'll cut me out if not, and I'll just have to lean one way. Yeah, there we go. I'll lean one way. There you go, I made it a bit bigger. So as you can see from there, Mr. Harmon was way out in the lead, as in like properly out in the lead. There was a time What was it? It was, he dropped one on the second, dropped one on the fifth. And I was watching it going through, and I thought at one point there were people within 3 to 4 shots of him, and I thought that this early on, there's a possibility that he might succumb to the pressures. But I've got to give him credit, he didn't. After that last bogey on the fifth, he then followed up with 2 decent, good birdies, back-to-back birdies on 6 and 7. And then even when he dropped one on the back 9, he then followed it up with 2 birdies straight after. So, and then it kind of sealed the deal. As soon as he even got those bogeys back and he got to 11, or 12 was it, it was, as far as I could see, he was a done deal, unless something went horribly, horribly wrong. And of course it could have happened, he could have got into one of those lovely pothole bunkers at any point, but he didn't, and he done exceptionally well. Was it boring? That's a question that a lot of people were asking. There was also some NBC, I think there was some feedback that NBC had for its coverage, and I don't know if anyone who was watching the coverage of NBC, I'm not quite sure. But it was something to do with adverts. Neil says, Harman's making 2 birdies after each bogey, strong mentality. It is a very good strong mentality. I mean, when it comes to even my golf that I play, I'm not someone who lights the golf course up. I'm not. But then I'm also someone who doesn't really drop that many shots, but I'm fairly boring to play with. He was boring and then not boring at the same time. Fairly boring watching him, as in the case of waggle, 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 waggle. Although did I actually, I don't know if I captured it or not, because it is quite funny. And if I can pop it on here without getting a copyright on me, can I don't know if I can do the media source. If I can do this on the media source, I don't know if I'll be allowed to do it, but let's see if I can get away with it. If I don't get away with it, I do a copyright strike. Ah, well, it's fine. It might have a little bit of a wig out. Right, where is it? Has it gone on there? Do you want to keep them? Save, yes, whatever, go away. Stupid thing. Now, will I get away with doing this? I don't know if I can play it. Can I play it if I transition?
1 there.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. 2. And each waggle, he's moving his feet, he's looking up at the target.
There's 4.
We were all taught to waggle when we were young to keep your arms relaxed, you know, and he's maybe waggling a few more than most, but he's not going to hit until he's set and ready to rock.
The thing, he's not counting his waggles. He's just trying to zone in on where he wants this ball to go.
Just, you know, there's a lot of thought that goes on before you draw it back.
So it was quite funny, I must say. It was quite funny. Now, I think there was at one point they counted 18. I think it was on a wood. I think it was on, I don't know if it's a fairway wood or a driver. He counted 18. 18 waggles. Wow. Chris says, got to give Peter Finch credit. He called Brian Harman as the winner before the start of the tournament. That was, all depends, you see. Saying something is different depending on how many money on it. Now, did he put any money on it? That would be a different one. If not, he's a happy boy today, is old Pete. Christopher says, glad I was busy all weekend. I didn't get to watch much. The waggles would have drove me nuts. There was a lot of waggles, but it works. I mean, it worked for him. Would it work for everybody? It works for him because he's obviously playing less shots than everyone else. And if he was shooting 82, then it would be mind-bogglingly, yeah, drive you crazy. Neil says he just played very solid, smart golf, was just great to watch. We will have to have a tense ending another time. Yes, well, it was a little bit. Again, when it comes to the weather was an interesting one. It was either going to be the one that was going to bunch everyone else up or was just going to make it a blooming big grind. Now, there were some movers on Sunday, but if you look at the spread of the field, I think Rahm had the best chance of possibly getting close to him, but he would have had to have shot the best round of the day. I think that was just to even, I think that would have only just matched him, let alone it wouldn't have overtook him or even got one within one. So I don't think anyone was actually ever going to surpass him, especially with how everyone was playing, where the pin locations were, what the weather was doing. It was kind of one of those ones where unless he himself had a cataclysmic meltdown, it was always going to be his to lose rather than win. So, but he did. He played solid, smart golf, put it in the places where he needed to. He was plotting himself around the golf course, not bombing it and gouging it. So I guess he won it as the RNA decided that they would like people to win it. But yeah. Chris says the RNA have made the USGA really think how they run their tournaments, compare the Open and the US Open purely in spectator interaction attendance. Interesting point, very good interesting point, Chris. There are two very, very, very different tournaments set up very, very differently. I think when it comes to the US Open, it's always been much more make the rough as thick, as dense and as harsh as you possibly can, and then make the greens as ridiculously fast, sloping, undulating and difficult as possible. So it's you'll always have the fans and also the people that critique the US Open because it is quite unique in its setup. When it comes to the Masters are unique in itself, but it's always been that way. And it does set up for quite good numbers. Generally speaking, there's always a decent number under par. And so, again, spectators like birdies. They don't like seeing people scramble around for bogey. But yeah. So what we're saying, Neil says, good point, Chris, but yeah, good point. Abstract AV says, I was hurting for Tommy. So many birdie putts just slipped past. Yes, again, when it comes to it, it's the difference between a little bit here, half an inch here, there and everywhere. And then you got a difference between putting up a good fight on Sunday and not having anything happen whatsoever. But Neil says, great that it at least wasn't a DeChambeau bombing that won it, but rather a good ball striker with a great game and course management. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm pretty certain the RNA was happy with the person that won, how he won. Absolutely. It's then just down to the likes of the spectators and the viewing public on TV. How they felt he was as a winner and how they thought he was when it comes to how he won and how he and the Waggles. Although saying that, I will say that it was much more made a point of when it comes to media. Media made more of a point of it than a lot of people were actually aware of it. And as soon as you have a waggleometer, what he was on, it becomes a little bit of a comical situation then, and because it's drawn attention to everything. So possibly a little bit unfairly. But he won and he done better than anyone else. So who cares about the Waggles, really? But yeah, what we got? John says, I went to the Open on the Friday. His Waggles were very tedious. Impressive how he ignored all the negative comments. May make him good for the US Ryder Cup team. Depends. Yeah, you've got a good point, John. You have definitely got a good point there. I wouldn't say you're wrong on that one. That's a good point. Jerry says, I wish the lead was 8 under since everybody was 7 or 8. That would have been interesting. That would have been a better, it would have been a better spectacle, put it that way, for the viewing public if the 7 unders and 8 unders and all that lot, because there was a bunch of them, absolute bunch of people at 7 or 8 under. And so therefore, yeah, being honest, I was doing multiple things on Sunday. I can't help it, I was watching the Formula 1 as well. Trying to watch the Formula 1, trying to keep an eye on the Open, trying to make sure all my Cobra videos were uploading and all the normal stuff that goes with uploading a video is done, with thumbnails and everything else like that. And yeah, so that's what I was doing. So I had eyes everywhere trying to keep an eye on everything at the same time is difficult. But Abstract AV says, can't believe Harmon is celebrating by buying a tractor. Well, he can now definitely afford one, because the money that he got for doing such was rather a lot. Was one of the largest purses in history, I think it was. Someone proved me wrong on that one. I think I read somewhere that it was one of the largest purses, or the largest purse in history. But yeah, that was the Open. So when it comes to it, I don't mind necessarily when it comes to pot bunkers and all this lot, because obviously people, the pot bunkers are what they're known for when it comes to the Open. It was back in the day when pot bunkers were original hollows that sheep used to like protect themselves against the wind and rain and stuff like that. And so they would make these pot bunkers. They were probably these little depressions. And of course, and the more they got in there, the more than they would dig them out and stuff like that. And so they got to a point of where, when people started playing golf and they went in them, you kind of get the idea. Now, obviously, they've revetted them and making them nice looking and stuff like that. And they do make them sometimes rather deep. They do. So, but again, it's one of those ones where that's a feature of the Open, no different to when it comes to, just turn the old aircon off. Yep. When it comes to the Open, that's one of their things. Undulating fairways, people putting from off the surface, people doing chips and runs and stuff like that. Yeah, it's that's the whole idea of it. And I'll be honest, it's brilliant how they do that. Niels, a while since the YouTube drink piggy bank had a contribution. Thank you very much, Niels. It's very much appreciated. I have my YouTube drink, but it's, should we say it's Charlie Oscar Kilo Echo? Are we allowed to say certain things on YouTube? I'm not quite sure. There you go. But thank you very, very much. It is much appreciated. Thank you for that. It does, it means a lot when people support the channel and stuff like that. It does. I mean, when it comes to live streams, for one, I actively like being on live because it gives the personal side of me to you guys to watch and stuff like that. Is it a financially useful time, useful part of my time? No, I'll be honest, it's daft. For the very, very little that, as in when it comes to how YouTube prioritizes long video format over live stream stuff. So effectively, I'm doing this for 2/3 of chuff all. But I do enjoy, and I do think it's important that I keep doing live streams as best I can do, because it does allow me to answer questions and give direct feedback and give my knowledge as best I can do to help people. And it's very much so appreciated when people support, and what Niels just did there. That's very, very kind. Thank you very, very much. Very much appreciated. Right, what have we got? Do we have some other ones? Hang on a second. I just want to make sure that I haven't missed anyone else. John says 3M. Don't know what that was. Sorry. Tap the. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to do things as I'm going on. So Jack says, I get it's a professional tournament, but those bunkers made for a very hard course. It made pros look like weekend warriors. Well, to be fair, I suppose some people like that. Some people have a twisted sense of humor where they actually see pros go into those kind of bunkers and struggle massively getting out. And it just makes them feel a bit better, because obviously, generally speaking, amateurs do struggle to get out of bunkers, and most of the problems is they don't have enough loft in their hands. They don't use enough loft through shaft axis twist. They don't then understand and have their bag set up when it comes to their wedges to utilize bounce properly within all their wedges. They They don't swing through high enough, fast enough, and aggressive enough. They don't know where the low point of their golf, shot needs to be. There are so many things that amateurs struggle with when it comes to bunker shots that if one learns and practices not a great deal, you don't need to practice bunker shots a great deal. The whole idea of the bunker shots is actually to be able to practice the fact that you don't have to hit the golf ball. When it comes to a normal golf ball, actually hitting a golf ball on the fairway crisp and struck nicely is actually more difficult than a bunker shot, because the whole idea of a bunker shot, you purposely miss the ball. So all you've got to do is get within reason a small amount. It's relatively small, but as long as you can get within some kind of point before the golf ball, you'll get a decent result. As long as you've got enough loft in your hands, as long as you've got enough bounce, or the right amount of bounce, depending on the surface, as in the sand composition and depth, etc. But there was a lot of internal out of bounds, which made the bigger hitters very cautious off the tees. Yes, and that's not a bad idea, especially with how the setup is. I mean, obviously it's running fast and running generally, obviously they had rain and stuff, which can affect that. But Abstract AV says, strange one, but does anyone know how heavy the Titleist Limited Edition 151 golf bag is on the Open website? Do you know what? Abstract AV, is that I haven't seen it. Is that a carry bag or is that a cart bag? I'm assuming when you're saying how heavy it is, it's carry. Don't know. Russell says stand bag. Yeah, carry bag. So if it's a carry bag, people have this huge thing. So when I was at Bury Golf Range, it was quite funny. We would obviously have a huge range of bags and cart bags and all bits and pieces as a general rule. And people would come in and they were saying that I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And they would compare two like-for-like bags from two different manufacturers or whatever it be that were basically exactly the same, within reason. And then, but they were critiquing over the fact that one might be 50 grams lighter. Well, can you feel 50 grams or 100 grams lighter or whatever it be? And they were saying that one bag is definitely better over the other bag on the basis that it's 100 grams lighter or 50 grams lighter, 62 grams lighter, whatever it would be. And they were completely missing the point that there's going to be 14 relatively heavy objects going to be put into the golf bag. Completely forgetting about the fact that you're now going to be putting balls in there. You're going to be putting all manner of different things in there, which you're going to carry. And 100 grams, 62 grams makes no odds. So people are going, wow, like this, isn't it? No. If you're going to talk about a bag which weighs 10 kilos as a bag that weighs 2 kilos, then yes, absolutely, you'll notice like lugging that around. But with all the other stuff in there, if you're talking a bag which weighs even a pound, even 2 pounds possibly, with all the stuff and the spread across the shoulders, with most obviously stand bags having decent thick padded straps, you're noticing far more how much stuff you're going to put in it, let alone anything else. I mean, when you're talking about driver heads themselves weighing 200 grams, you're talking about an iron head itself weighing 250 grams, 260 grams. You're talking about then shafts weighing however much they weigh, and then the grips on there times by however many you do. Worrying over 112 grams in the bag is the least of your worries. So what are you saying? John Walsh, as you were there, did many people comment on the Waggles? Abstract Ava, John's got to get on there. Yes, Niels, especially my eldest daughter. Good. So when it says, Neil said it says 3.7 pounds on the website. 3.7 pounds is, oh my word, about what, 1.5 kilos? Top of my head. Abstract Avery, never thought of it like that. I need to stop carrying 24 golf balls with me. Yeah, so when you're carrying balls, they weigh a lot. So, what have I got here? Right, I don't know how much a box of those weigh. A fair bit, but I I know people, right, and when you've gone in there, so when they come for a custom fit or a coaching session, the funny thing is, right, you get their bag and then you go open up the ball pocket on their bag, right, and they have not just 12, they have like the most ridiculous amounts of golf balls in there, as in you open it up and it's full, and you think, why have you got so many balls in? No wonder your bag's so heavy. Why have you got so many balls in there? And they'll turn around and say, well, just in case I lose them. Well, they're all different types of golf balls. Why have you got all different types of golf balls in there? Well, when I'm looking for my ones, because I've hit it in the woods, I find the odd one here and there and I just put it in the bag. But like, well, they're all different types of golf balls. That means they're going to react differently when you hit them. If they react differently, you hit them because they're different, like core counts, how they're constructed, different dual patterns, different covers. They're all going to fly differently. They're all going to do different things. And the one thing people turn around and say to me when it used to come into a lesson, and I say, what are we looking to fix today? What do you want to fix, basically? The number one thing that people turn around and says, I want to be more consistent. Well, okay, for that case, let's just play one type of golf ball. Yeah, whatever it will be, just pick a golf manufacturer and pick a golf ball which is suited to what you need or what you would like, and stay with it. And that way then, any variance in what you see the golf ball doing is only down to you, and not because you've got 17 different types of golf balls which will do 17 different things when you hit them. Yep, but it is funny. Eric's on, that's fine. I'll get to you, Eric, no problem. So, I'm trying to say thanks, Niels. I looked twice. What was that? I don't know what Niels said. What did Niels say? Oh yeah, 3.7 pounds. That's good. Eric says, I jumped on late, not sure if this has been addressed, but Cobra King Tours versus the Ping i230s. Off the top of your head, how do you compare, or how do they compare? Is one dramatically more forgiving and stroke feel? That's a very good matchup. 32 degrees against 33 degrees. We've got player's cavity against player's cavity. We have got a very good matchup there. Feel-wise, that's going to be tricky. That's going to be good. That's going to be really hard to do. That's going to be good. I will add that to the list. Where is my list? Hang on, bear with. I will add that to my list. Got my list. And I'm going to add that on. I do the in my squiggle. I'll add that to the list. Anyone else got any other ideas for, yeah, get them on there. Still trying to get hold of the Strixon stuff, by the way. Poor old Strixon. They've, my contact within Strixon said that the products, the irons and stuff should have already been delivered, of which they haven't, obviously. And so they're trying to find what's been going on. So as soon as they do arrive, I'll get onto the reviews of those. I'm on holiday next week though. So there will be no live stream on the Monday. So, because again, I'm on holiday, but it's a family holiday this time, not just going to, it's honeymoon last time when I went to Morocco. That was nice, hot, but yeah. And this time is going to be a staycation within the UK. So, I might take the clubs of some form or other, and I might go practice wherever I'm going, and see if I get spotted again when it comes to going to any random driving range I normally do, which is quite fun, so I don't mind. So, but when it comes to Eric, I'm not quite sure. I'll put that on the list when it comes to the video comparison, and it'll be fun to do that one, but I will do that one. Neil says, balls weigh around 45 grams a piece. They do, they very much do. And so when you go 45 grams times by a bag load, doesn't take long before you can quite easily be, what, a kilogram's worth of balls. And people go on about, oh, it's this bag's 68 grams lighter than the other one. I think I'll buy this one. And it's got a massive ball pocket to put my 28 balls that I find every round. Yep. So, address, sorry, typo. I was fine, don't worry, Eric. You want to see my messages sometimes. It's kind of like when it comes to normal stuff on there, that's a great thing when it comes to predictive text, but not sometimes. I've made some cracking errors over the years when it comes to predictive text. Always make sure you scroll back through your email or WhatsApp message before you press the send button. But Neil said abstract, scroll halfway down on this page. Oh, see, Neil's as being just brilliant. And I think it's because Neil's is still a moderator that he's allowed to send links. Because Niels, you are absolute star when it comes to helping the golfing public out as well. So you can do the kind of stuff behind the scenes which I can't do because I'm having to do other stuff as well at the same time. So I thank you from the bottom of my golfing heart. So Jack says, if you haven't already, can you please consider reviewing the TSR 2 Plus fairway? I have ordered one, will most likely drop the driver for the 2 Plus. I am one who struggles with driver, my 3.5 goes further. It'd be an interesting, well, it would be fun from a coaching perspective to understand why your 3 to 5 goes further than your driver, because obviously for me, that says either one of two things. It either says there's a tuition issue there, or you've got a really bad fitting driver. But prefer off the turf interaction than a high tee. But sorry, Niels, it's not the one, it's the £400 one on the open website shop. Yep. Eric says, thanks. I'm also curious about the G430 LS Tech 3-word. As a lefty, I haven't been able to find one to demo. Really interested in how it stacks up against the G430 Max as well as Rival's brand new time. So, right, so when it comes to the 3-wood, I haven't reviewed it on the basis of one thing and one thing only. There's not enough people there that really care. And so when it comes to spending my time, obviously reviewing something, doing all the forgiveness side of things and all bits and pieces like that, which takes an inordinate amount of time, it takes a long time for me to create the stuff that I do create. And for the most part, I appreciate every single comment that I've received about the work that I put in behind the scenes to make the content that I do. So thank you very much for that. I do get the occasional daft one. Yep. But I understand the reasons why that other YouTube content creators don't do what I do, because it just takes a long time and it is not, or very difficult to justify financially spending the time doing something for which you are unknown whether to actually get the viewership needed to make it even break even or not. Yeah, so that's the reason why I haven't done it, is purely because of the viewership. I'll tell you what I will do though. So it's not a secret now. The STG 230 is on its way when it comes to fairway wood and driver. They obviously you've seen the STG 3-wood, and it looks, as I don't know, as someone said, I don't know if I can find it. Hang on, bear with, I'll see if I can find it. There, oh, hang on. If I can find it, I will try and capture an image of it, and if I can do an image of it, I'll put it up on the 230 fairway wood. I'll see if I can get it up on there, because if I can get it up on there, then it stands out because it's got like a titanium sole to it. But it's been on Mizuno's feed. I've got to try and find it. Anyone who can find it quicker than me, by all means do so. But yeah, I don't know how they've got it on their website or anything else like that. There it is, I can find it. Let's see if I can save that image and put it into the live stream folder. Oh, it's going to be a WEP. I'm not quite sure I'll get away with that. I need to be able to see if I can get away with it. I may or may not be able to do this, and I apologise if I can't do this, because I'm not quite sure if OBS will take a WebP file. Let's just quickly, let's test this. There we go. This will either work or it won't. Apologise if it won't. There you go, it works. So there you go, that's what the new STG fairway wood looks like. What do you think? Someone was saying it actually looks like an old Nike, which I can understand them actually, because it has got that silver plate on the bottom. I don't think it does, but I can see the similarity, definitely. And what I'll do is I'll test this. And when I test this, it will give some form of understanding of the viewership around it. And do you know what, Eric? If enough people view it to make it worthwhile me putting this up against the 430 LS Tech 3 wood, I will, absolutely. But it will be down to the viewership, basically, to make sure if it's going to be financially viable for me to do. Again, this is the problem when you're looking at a channel not Rick Shields' kind of size. Anything that Rick does will get like 500,000 hits straight away, because just the way it is. Every single video that he makes, he's making $3 on. When it comes to, well, more than $3, hang on, 500. Oh, yeah, about $3 on. So he hasn't got to worry about it if he's making 500,000 views. When it comes to what I do, again, time, I've got to make sure as best I can do, I can target my time to make what I do financially viable. But that's just being honest. But let's just get rid of that again, because that's starting to, yeah. But they've also got the three wood out, the driver. And that does look like an interesting beast, wee beastie. I've got to try and find it now. I don't know if I'll be able to find it on the same. It's when you try and look through Google, can't find it. But it will be an interesting test. Now, I'm actually hearing there's a lot of going on at the moment when it comes to, let's see if I can get it straight off Twitter. There's some chat when it comes to the driver side of Mizuno, and I don't know what's going on yet, I'll be honest, I don't. And I'm not at liberty to actually say anyway what I know, because I can't. However, there is talk amongst the drivers and stuff. They're releasing obviously the G, that's coming out hopefully fairly soon. I've got to find, see if I can do. I say I hate Twitter. I'm not very good at using Twitter, I must admit, I'm not. Just trying to find stuff on Twitter just drives me mental. just find it like really frustrating sometimes. But as soon as I find, I can't, oh, Twitter, there we go, up here. Let's see if I can find it. Golf EU, would that be the one? Okay, that could possibly be it. There's the T24 wedges, and what do you think of the T24 wedges, guys? The T24 wedges look rather nice, we'll call it. Have we got any other pictures other than that? Because I don't mind just picking on that one. I did see some other pictures as well. No, we'll pick on that one, that's fine. So the driver itself does look quite interesting. It does. Is that, no, okay, so let's see if we can get that picture. Can I save that picture as, yeah, I can do that, there we go. So, anyone want to know what the new one looks like? I can now do it very quickly, ish. We've got to try and find it on the internet first. I really wish I could have someone to produce this for me, because it would make it a lot easier. I'd say, I'm just going to put it up on the screen, eeny, meeny, miny. I tell you what, I'll make it bigger, if I can. If I can make it bigger, that means then you'll be able to see it a bit better. I wish I could crop it as well. I probably can do as well, but I'll have to move my head out of the way. Right, there you go. What do you think of that? That is an interesting channel. So it looks like you've still got the Cortec chamber at the front, which what makes the STZ and X230 good, like very good. It'd be interesting to see how this one, because this apparently is the proper low spin bomber. Now it's 440cc rather than 460. That's already been released. So I'm not messing. I'm not breaking any rules by saying that. That's already been published. It's 440cc. It's smaller head. You can physically see it looks smaller head in the hands, unless that hand person of whoever that is a giant. But it's got long, very, very, very long tracks. So it will be interesting to see how that thing performs. I will do a normal review of that one, and I'll do the forgiveness review of that one as I normally do, so it'll be interesting to see. So depending how it gets on. Right, how are we? We got Abstract AV says that the 3 wood, the fairway wood of the G variety looks horrid. Yeah, I'm assuming that's one sale that's not going to happen from Abstract AV then. Eric says, hi Jay, hope you enjoy your upcoming staycation. Oh, I hope I will do. It's the whole family. So my boy, my girl and my wife and I are going for a staycation to an undisclosed location so I don't get mugged. But the chances are if I do take my golf clubs, I will get spotted if I do go out and practice somewhere. Remember that staycation beats workation. Yeah, I know that one. I'm confused about distance game improvement irons. Shouldn't people just hit woods longer and play weaker lofted irons? Depends on speed. So if you're talking about speed, as soon as speed comes off dramatically, as in we're talking 60 miles an hour for a 7-iron, etc., then actually going to super game improvement irons, super strong lofted super game improvement irons idea, or even strong lofted game improvement irons actually is a bad thing. Why? Because you might all have that low drop, pull down center of gravity to try and help launch from a given loft, but loft at that speed is still your friend. You will find that if you have the most aggressive low CG'd object, if you're swinging at 60 odd miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, and you've got a 29 degree 7-iron or 28 degree 7-iron or whatever it be, 26 degrees sometimes and stuff, it's physically not going to launch it high enough. And then with the ball speed that you create, because your swing speed is suppressed, it just falls out the air. And as soon as you start taking that much loft off effectively through, that's your static loft that you've got, then you're going to spin it less. And as soon as you spin it less also, there's no spin point there to try and keep anything in the air to even counter a low ball speed. So, and again, low ball speed is such that in fact you're not going to get it anyway. So actually adding loft, you still get all, that's why the high launch stuff works so well, because you've still got all the aggressive CG, low far back kind of idea, very stable head, very built to fire upwards and obviously forwards is best, but it also got that loft, which is helpful. And so you can then have a little bit more of a sensible loft gappings while still retaining all the help. But that's the whole idea of when it comes to that. Once you go fast, this is the thing, as soon as you get a game improvement iron in the hands of a game improvement person, but they swing quick, then you have to be very wary of those lofts again, but for a different reason. They're going to have loft gaps huge. They're going to start hitting 7-irons when they hit them really well, 190, 200 yards, and then there's no way to get down to their standard 58 or 60 degree lob wedge distance, and it becomes just chaos theory. It's difficult. So de-lofting those, adding loft on those, doing the same thing to a normal thing, but obviously a normal iron, game improvement iron with a slow swing speed, effectively just making them retro lofts, will help. And there's the butter zone in the middle where the game improvement iron is going to work for the majority of the rest of the golfers. Eric says, I love the way the new SGG3 wood looks. Abstract AV will disagree with you. Absolutely will. Can't wait to see it in a dress. I believe it's fairly open. I think the SGG fairway and driver, as far as I know, they have a slight open address. Now, I'll be honest, I will probably be taking that out in grip. So I will not be resting the sole on the floor, because generally speaking, I'm not a great fan of having a face which is open. Not a great fan of a face which is shut. I want something which is neutral. And so if I was to rest that one down by the golf ball and let the golf club sit, and that sits open, I'm going to be taking that out in grip. But yeah, and then lofting it accordingly. But yeah, so And Neil said, obviously, the T24s are gorgeous, of which they are. They are very, very nice. So when it comes to the T24s, I'll see if I can get hold of the T24 on here, because there we go. I can grab that one. Pretty certain I can. I'm allowed to do that. We will see. If I get copyrighted for this, it'll be hilarious. Oh, something's going wrong. Well, I've copied that. There we go. Can I? Oh, there we go. This is where I go horribly wrong now. I've got to save that. Save image as. There we go. And I'll just stick it onto there. Does the same thing again. Keeps popping off there. So this is why I need someone who's going to be doing the production for me. Doesn't matter. Right, here we go. So let's click this one back on and let's drag this one down. Oh, I tell you what, I'll be able to make it bigger as well for everyone's delight. There you go, and transition there. That's what the new T24s look like. I think you'll agree they do look very, very nice. And what I like about these more than anything else is the fact they've got sharp, curvy edges, but rounded, if you know what I mean. The font has changed, which makes it much more along a pleasing font to look at. But the biggest thing, which I think makes the biggest difference, is the badging, or the stamping, or whatever you want to call it. Previous models, when it comes to T20 and T22, there was negative feedback around how well the loft badging was easily seen, how easily you could pick up that it was a 58, or is that my well, what's close to a 58? But I mean, sometimes 56, 54, there were, or 50 and 58. You just look in your bag, and unless you're like very, very OCD and disciplined into putting them in the right slot every single time, you could pick up the wrong one and have a look at it and go, cool, my arm getting old, look at my eyes, is that what this? And yeah, so now they've changed that. That is so visible, which is only a good thing. And there was a lot of people that did have something to say about the badging, which it does look good. So I'm happy about that. Why do I press that one? We won't do that again. Fade to black the whole thing. Right. So Abstract AV, so I would swap my T22s for T24 though. Finish looks nice, it does. I'll be getting my samples soon, and so I'll be getting some 4K uploads of those image-wise to see, because they will be quite nice. At the end of the day, guys, when it comes to wedges, we all know. So there's been plenty of there is always plenty of content out there, hitting them on the greens, hitting them around. Basically, we just need to know how they work, and are they very, very similar to the T22 when it comes to their sweet spots location. Remember, the S23 wedge, which has just come out, has a more centralized sweet spot. And it works really well having a separation between a T-series and the S-series for people that have differences when it comes to their pattern strike location. So if you're someone who has a pattern strike location from the middle to the toe, then an S23 wedge is going to be far, far better for you than when it comes to a T-series. Why? Because of the consistency of strike. You're going to be further away from the effective middle when it comes to a T-series with a middle to toe than you are the S, which means you're going to get a more consistent efficiency transfer and a more consistent result. When it comes to someone who's going to go from the middle to heel, then you will be more consistent, arguably, with the T24, sorry, and T22, and then S23 is going to be in between. But you can go either way when you're a heel to a toe than you can do a toe to a center. There's a bigger difference between a toed mishit than it is to a heeled mishit. Although I would still say that if you're going to go slightly toey to middle, S23 all day long, and if you're going to be middle to slightly heel, I'd still go T-series. But yeah, there you go. Boom, boom, boom. Abstract AV says, I had to go stronger lofted even though my 7-iron swing speed is 91 miles an hour. Turns out the loft I deliver is quite high. I'll have lessons one day. Wow, 91 mile an hour 7-iron and having to go stronger. Now, can your, I can't remember what golf clubs you said you bought. Can your ones be bent back again? because obviously when you do at one point decide to fix your issue when it comes to a extended wrist position, I'd bet a pound to a pinch of plop that that's what it is. You're coming into impact like that, adding loft. That's why this thing is very, 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 very good, because it identifies that, and you can work on it, work on your delivery with this on, and it shows you everything. It's a very, very good system, brilliant system. For wrist angles and everything else, I honestly think going forward, I don't understand why every coach does not have one of these, and especially if you've got one of these and you're doing it in conjunction with something like that, your quad. I mean, that's like a proper setup. That really is. But yeah, so I can see your point when it comes to 91 miles an hour. You're not slow at all. But yeah, I would be looking at trying to fix that, because it's going to make a big difference on everything. Obviously, if you're an extender, if you're someone who adds loft, you'll be doing that with everything. Now, obviously, that's really good when it comes to a fairway wood, etc. But depending on how you have your driver, you'll be compromising or potentially compromising a few different things on driver. So if you were to neutralize it a little bit, become a little bit more neutral, that will have then it will like go like dominoes through your bag. I would still keep what you're able to do there potentially. I don't know, we're just guessing effectively, but if you are an extender, I would keep the ability to do that, because that in itself is a feather in your cap. It's a weapon in your arsenal, because when you want to launch something, when you do want to have control of a dynamic loft, you've got what you do now that adds dynamic loft, and that allows you to launch something fairly high. So I'd keep it as a feather in your cap. Definitely wouldn't lose the ability to do it, but I would also look at trying to tweak it for the vast majority of your golf clubs, because you are going to get a much more efficient hit and a much more consistent gapping than you potentially currently do. But there you go. Anyone else got any questions? Oh, we were going, it's all come through in one go. For a second there, I got absolutely boom. Oh yes, my 51 and 61 look the same. Yeah. Abstract AV, thank you very, very much there. Abstract AV's just donated £4.99. That means the world, that does. Because again, when it comes to live streams, I do find live streams important for me to do, because it does put me directly in front of you guys to answer your questions, which I'm more able to do when it comes to doing this than I am comments and stuff like that. I try to reply to as many comments as I possibly can do, but I find it difficult, obviously, because the volume of them, and I'm busy obviously creating more and more content, and the stuff that I do takes longer than the vast majority of the people that are on YouTube creating content. So yeah, it's always very difficult. So when it comes to things like that, Abstract AV, thank you very, very much. It is very much so appreciated. It really is. Thank you. Abstract AV says PXG Gen 6 XP. Yes, I remember. So the XP, they're forged, aren't they? Well, they say they're forged. And I think they can be bent weak. Excuse me, I need to have a YTD, YouTube Charlie Oscar Kilo Echo. But yeah, so I think they can be bent weak if they needed to. Those XPs are ridiculous. They're 27 degree 7 irons, if I remember. I hit one, a customer that I was helping, and I hit one, wasn't actually warmed up fully, and I hit it 200 yards. And I'm thinking, wow, what? That's mental. So Eric says, what system is that? So what system is this? So this is Hack Motion. A full review of this will be on my channel. And if I can get around, I'm trying to think how I'm going to do it. I could get it up on here, but there's no way. I can get it up on my phone, and then effectively what I do here is that I then Chromecast it to a 4K TV and effectively have the screen from my phone up onto the TV. So every single time I do something, it's physically there up onto the TV. What I'm finding difficult at the moment is obviously being able to capture that, because a Chromecast has got something called HDCP, which Niels, I'm blooming certain, knows exactly what it is. And so HDCP, so high definition security copyright protection, something like that, doesn't enable me to Chromecast or take the Chromecast and straight into a video capture device. So when I'm doing my YouTube content, I can then put that on in post as such. So basically stick it up on the screen. So what I'm having to do at the moment is do it on my phone and then screen record it and do it that way. It's not the nicest way of doing things, but it's functional at the moment. I have heard that you can go get a splitter to do the same thing, but that's a different, yeah. So Hack Motion is effectively, I've took my watch off now so you can see what happens. So you put Hack Motion on, you put it around here, around your wrist, yep. And then this part, this bit here, this goes around the wrist. Oh, fell down the bottom, there we go. And then you just stick it on like this. Yep, round there, like that. Nice and easy, there you go, right? And then this bit, with a little clip, like you can see there, yeah, that clips in your glove. So when it comes to you have your glove, that will clip inside there. So that'll separate a little bit between the Velcro, but it doesn't separate enough to make your Velcro bad thing come off. You can clip it underneath as well, but because it's got a little edge to it, it can just irritate your hands a little bit if you put it bare skin. But what happens is, obviously you get it there, and then you calibrate it so it's set like this. And every single time you move your hands and do this, obviously that's strapped to your glove. Your glove's not coming off, it doesn't move. When it's on here, it just does not move. And it's an amazing tool. It measures every single time you move it within, from address to your top of your backswing, down to impact and even follow through, and you get a graph if you want. You've got numbers, you've got graphs, it goes crazy. You can even compare yourself to PGA Tour players or different people that have release patterns similar to where you want to get to. And so then you can work with your coach or work by yourself, because obviously there's ways to, like coaching parts and tips that comes with this and all that lot, so you can work on getting your delivery better. But I mean, what I see this for, yeah, really from a real like coaching point, is if you've got an individual who's like a classic slicer, a classic individual which has a face massively open, massively closed, compromised through twists, through loft, etc. Utilizing something like this is just crazy good and crazy quick at getting the individual to understand what wrist motion it needs to get rid of it. And so having something like that, which is visual, it's instant, it is, I mean, it's brilliant. It really, really is. But I've got to do a full review of that one anyway. So, yeah, Neil's turned around and says, Eric, Hack Motion. Perry says, evening, weather for ducks this summer. It's not very good, I must admit. It is hateful. It's been raining constantly. What product that you've tested this year has surprised you the most, Eric? I'll be honest, this one's doing really well. It's very, very, very good. So when it comes to product, so there's so many when it comes to different things that I've tested which have surprised me in a certain way. My screen's about to turn off, so I go press the button like this and press the button like that to shut them up so they don't turn off. So, I mean, even if you go from early doors when it comes to Mizuno's release of the JPX 923, just how nice the game improvement irons felt, the work they've done with the acoustics part of the face to try and make them feel much more forged than they actually are, because they're not forged at all, they're cast, but they sound very, very nice. To when you go to, I don't know, when it comes to the 11 golf clubs, the hybrids that I reviewed not so long ago, and how ridiculously easy they are to hit, and I think more golfers really need to be using those. Because even as a starter set for people that are getting involved in golf for the first time, having that as an option is just the best ever. Then when it comes to, I've still got to do a lot of DTC stuff, a lot of direct-to-consumer stuff that still needs to come through and be tested and stuff like that, so that'll be an interesting one. But the Cobra irons were really interesting. I was really surprised just how ridiculously nice that the MB and CB felt. and how well they performed out of heel strikes, which is fairly unbeknown in modern day game. And then when it comes to the tour, how good all-rounder that one is. Now, obviously, I've still got the Forge Tech X to release tomorrow. That's already up and scheduled to release tomorrow. So obviously don't forget to watch that one, guys. But yeah, there's been quite a few that have been quite surprising and quite nice to test. Obviously, different people, different golfers will require different things, and yeah, so when it comes to the reviews, you guys of different levels and abilities will take different bits from different golf clubs. Azure AVC, bits of them are forged, yes. Can be bent 2 degrees, good. In that case, yeah, I'd be looking at possibly, as you start getting better, a 29 degree 7-iron is still fairly strong, and I'll be honest, you're within a mile an hour or two the same as me. If you start swinging like me when it comes to how you deliver your face angles, etc., and your wrist angles, and you start striking it in certain areas, advantageous strike at certain areas, you may find that you may have to get rid of them and buy something a little bit more traditionally lofted, just purely because if not, they will go 200 yards for a 7-iron and your lob wedge goes 90 yards. What on earth are you going to do when it comes to your loft gaps in between? You haven't got that many golf clubs to span 110 yards. So yeah, just something to be aware of. So Ben says, hi Jay, thoroughly enjoyed Berry Golf Course today. Good, albeit a wet start at midday. Bet it was. I was very tempted to swing by the golf lounge to say hi, but need to get home to put my boy to bed. Sorry. Ben, that's all right. I am attached there, but I am not there. So anyone who's from YouTube or anything else like that is going to drop into the golf lounge expecting to get a sneak peek and a hello and stuff like that, I am not there all the time. I am there by appointment only and stuff like that, because obviously I've got my own YouTube stuff that I need to concentrate on, and the golfers lounge side of my business as such is separate. So if anyone is going to go over there and just sort of drop off and say hello, by all means contact me first through either Instagram or Gmail, something like that, AskGolfNut@gmail.com. So yeah, you don't get a wasted trip, put it that way. But there you go. So it's absolutely fine. No need to apologise. Neil says, would be fun to attach hack motion to Scheffler's feet. That's funny. That graph worthy of a Picasso signature. It would. Scotty Scheffler has got some amazing feet work, to a point of where how he manages to balance effortlessly, if you can call it effortlessly, every single time with such aggressive motion, and he balances every single time on that same. And I want to know who makes his shoes, because they're not the standard shoes that you get off the counter. Them things reinforce. You know, like when you get certain types of motorsports where the sidewalls, when with the cars that you can on like the circus ones and that, like you can drive on their side, you got to get them up on a ramp and then you can drive them sort of kind of like this on the sidewalls. So their sidewalls of their tyres are ridiculously stiff. And I'm thinking that Scotty Scheffler's shoes must have reinforced sides to be able to stay from just completely buckling under the weight of him balancing all his weight on that one side. But there you go. I'm not saying yes. At the end of the day, Scotty Scheffler is one of the best golfers of very, very current modern times. But his longevity will be the interesting thing. He's doing very well at the moment. On the longevity side, it will be interesting to see how well he does. Right, let's go there it is. Just want to get that back off. So, excuse me. As said at the very start, when it comes to this live stream, I am prepared to sit here for however long I'm needed to. Now, obviously, I've done live streams in the past going on for 4 hours. And if it's worth me doing such, I will. I'll be honest, I will. because my main thing when it comes to it is being able to make sure that I answer every single one of your questions and give every single person a fair bite of the cherry when it comes to being able to answer. And the reason why a lot of the times that I've been doing when it comes to live streams going on for like 4 hours is so the people that are in different parts of the world, they can log on at their own, say, leisure when they finish work, etc., and they've got a chance to answer or have their questions answered by me when it comes to, because obviously in different time zone in the world. There are some people that are at work at the moment, unfortunately. So, right. What questions have we got? I'll get rid of the tabs up there because I don't want, if not, it's just going to become a little bit mental when it comes to me trying to produce and talk at the same time. Generally speaking, I'm a bloke. I'm not great at doing multitasking, but yeah. Right, let's get back onto here. Cool. Neil says it's fine to call it short of 4 hours, get some work on content before the vacation. Yeah, so I've got that one there that's saying between the what was it earlier on? So it is the 225 against something, or was it the Cobra Tour against I-230? Yes, that's a very good point. I've got that one to think about doing. J, aka chatbot GPT. Yeah, I do feel that way sometimes. So I'm just looking at what I've got here. Dun, 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 dun. So what I would like to try and do, and it's going to be the difficult thing. So what I would like to try and do is I've got one more video to do this week, and I've got a video then for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So between now and next week, I need to get 3 videos done, if I can, to be able to span Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. And so then, after that, I can then go on holiday and leave you with some things to watch, effectively. Basically, so it makes it worthwhile doing. Now, how much I'm going to get a chance to do that content, I've still got so much to do. I've still got quite a lot of products coming through as well to test, and of course the testing that I do takes much longer than most, and so where a lot of YouTubers are able just to go grab their camera, go on course, hit some shots, give their opinions of how good it is, and say then that's it, and they've got very little to really edit. I've got loads to edit, so editing for me takes longer, and also the data collection takes longer. It just takes longer, but it's fine. It's fine. Right, J-Bot, tell me a joke. That's funny. Sorry, that's fine. Don't apologise. I think it's quite funny. I'm not very good at jokes, must admit. All the ones, because everyone's got everyone's lost their sense of humour as time's gone on, because obviously we're a little bit more sensitive now than we used to be. So I've kind of, when it comes to YouTube jokes, I'll stay clear of YouTube jokes, because obviously you're always going to offend someone. So I'll stay out of the joke telling business. But yeah, so anyone got any questions when it comes to anything technical? I like the fact that I get some technical questions. I like being stretched when it comes to the technical side of things. Time for some Charlie Oscar Kilo Echo. Right. Da-da-da. And if no one's got any questions, what I can do is I can, I'll finish it early if not. I'd like to carry on and answer questions galore, but that all depends on individuals. If people have got the want to do it. So what I'm going to do, anyway, when it comes to it, I've made a decision. And this comes down to going forward long term with the live streams. So as the things down the bottom says, that I really need to change really, but it says new announcement, yeah. Memberships coming to the channel so you can get the priority, blah, blah, blah. Right, so that will be going live very, very soon. Now, depending on how many people take it up and stuff like this, my live streams and stuff like that will be centered around what I do around memberships, because when it comes to these kind of answers to questions, these are far more in depth and far more useful to people than any kind of answers that I can give in comments. I find it very, very difficult, obviously, to be able to comment well enough or answer well enough the comments to be able to give a full and concise answer to a question which is posed in a comment. Also, when it comes to when you're trying to write in comments, it's very, very difficult sometimes to get your point across in a way which they can understand. And so when you're doing it this way, I can speak far, far quicker than I can type, and I can get across even using my hands. But yeah, people know when I'm laughing and smiling and stuff like that. People know when I'm joking. People know when I'm being serious. People know when I'm talking about certain different things. And so effectively, this becomes far more useful when it comes to answering people's questions. There'll also be topics. There'll also be talking about stuff that I am testing, because there is a membership and because there is a certain very reduced audience. There may well be obviously an opportunity to showcase certain things that I am testing, which is not as yet released. And so depending on how much I can get the go ahead to make sure I can do that, I couldn't do a YouTube video on basically what I'm doing. Of course, that's out to the masses, but I might be able to get away with doing slight sneak peeks when it comes to limited number live streams, which memberships will be. So as long as I get enough takers from doing that, and I will know within the first few months of doing such, and the live streams will be weekly and within reason. I mean, obviously there might be certain situations like me going on holiday, generally speaking, doesn't happen. It's happened twice this year already. One being honeymoon, even that was from last year. But so generally speaking, yeah, I'm not someone that takes a lot of holidays anyway, because I'm just too busy. And I will do them every single week. And there might be a public one every month, but I'm not quite sure. That's what the memberships will be generally for. There are obviously different tiers and stuff like that, but that will be going ahead very, very soon. And then, depending on how many people I get that to be taken up over the couple of months that I'll be running it for and pushing it for as such, then I will, because what I'll do is I'll run the first couple of weeks, I'll run the memberships, but I'll also open it up to everybody within the first 2 weeks, and I'll continuously say within the live stream that it's going to go live. Memberships are live now, but from this date you won't be able to reach live streams unless you remember, blah blah blah. But that's the whole idea. That's what I'm going to try and do. So I need to try and give it much more, it needs to be set in stone as to what I can do, so I'm disciplined in a certain area at a certain time and stuff like that. If not, it becomes a little bit daft, if not. But then we'll see when it comes to that. And then within reason, as time goes on, if there isn't enough take up for memberships, being honest, there isn't, because obviously YouTube is, generally speaking, a free platform. And I understand and I love the fact that it's a free platform. I don't like the advertising side of things. I'm not a great fan of advertising whatsoever, but I understand why it's there. And so my point would always be to try and negate the need for people to sit through so many adverts and stuff like that. It just drives me mental. But to do that, I need to, because I obviously earn money from adverts, well, kind of buy products of such. So they're frustrating, but they're a necessary evil. But yeah, we'll see. But that's the whole lot. But that will be going live very, very soon. I will do a video of that, so it will get out to the masses. And it will be possibly a bit of a clickbaity title. I won't lie, because the whole idea of it is if I want it to get out to as many people within my subscribership as possible. So I can give, so it's not, the whole idea is I can get the word out there to as many people as possible, so I give them an opportunity to decide if they want to do something or not. If they don't know about it, and then they decide they want to look at, why can't I look at this? What's going on? They don't know about it. Yeah, so that's the whole idea. It will probably be a little bit clickbaity to try and get as many people to know about it as possible. There you go. Perry says, just succumbed and bought an electric trolley. Which one? Stuart? Motor Caddy? power caddy? Fed up with pushing and too old to carry. Hope it makes it less tiring towards the end of the round. It will do. It definitely will do. You're still walking, but yeah. Abstract AV, how many members would you need to make it work? That's a very good question. What I'll do, I'll be honest, is I will run it, see what obviously, because of the time it takes for me to do, because it's not just turn the cameras on and there. There's a certain amount of production that needs to happen first for things to happen. There needs to be, obviously, things need to be set up in a certain way for me to live stream and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily just simple as run it to work, put it to just flick a switch and go hi like this. It's not that. So things need to take time to do. So I will have to sort of see going forward. But what I will do, I will I'll do the memberships, do the announcements, get out there, run it for a month or so to get as many people in on it to see what's going on, run it for a few more months after that. If there isn't enough for me to make this viable, that's why it is so, so I'm a little bit jokey about it and stuff like that, but that's why it does mean a lot to me when people do donate to the channel. They show their support in little small donations, because it's things like that which do make the live streams worthwhile me doing, because obviously just the YouTube algorithm, when it comes to live streams, they do not monetize live streams anywhere near what they do long format video, and so it's arguably not fair, but it is what it is. And so I need to make sure that doing certain things is worthwhile. Now, when it comes to memberships, when it comes to the stuff that I'll be potentially able to give a very small group of people access to, when it comes to certain products that I'm testing and certain things which may or may not be under embargo, because I'm dealing with such a small audience, relatively small audience, rather than putting a video out there that's going to get 20,000 views when it comes to Mizuno timeline stuff. That's reaching far too many people to be, for me, able to get away with doing certain things. But if I'm reaching a very limited, relatively number of people, I'll be able to get away with obviously showing what's going on. As soon as I get the T24 wedges, I can get in front of the camera and go, look, these are what they are, look at these, how they blah, blah, blah. There's certain things that I obviously will be able to do, and that will be perks for members. And obviously all the comments, all the questions being asked, I'll answer, and to a far better depth than I can do when it comes to just being able to type them on my phone whenever I've got a spare moment. So yeah, that's the whole idea. So I'm not quite sure as yet how many it will need to make it viable, but I will keep, as I always do, I will keep everyone apprised of what's going on, how things are going, what my intentions are going forward, etc. As I always am. I pride myself on possibly, or trying to be, the most honest person that I possibly can be, and when, because I think it's important either way. So, right, has anyone else got any more questiones? As the tumbleweed goes across. It's fine, if you haven't, that's not a problem. I can put my watch back on now, no? So yeah, I'm quite excited about doing the hack motion video. When it comes to like training aids and stuff in the past, I've always been a little bit dubious, I'll be honest, I have. There are very few training aids of which I have really ever thought are really worthwhile. And there's always going to be, in certain situations with certain people, there's going to be a training aid that might work or could work very well. I'll agree. Yes, I agree. But on the main, there we go. Sorry, that's just me. But from the main point, when it comes to yeah, teaching aids, I'm not a great fan of them. Never have been a great fan of them, as a general rule. But there are certain things, hack motion being one of them. And I would like to say this, I'll be honest, right? I am not being paid in any way to do a review of this device. I am doing a review on this device purely on the basis of just how inquisitive initially that I was to how it works or not, because obviously if this can work as good as HackMotion is saying it is, this potentially could revolutionize, well, it could do to a certain extent in coaching, definitely, and also to the amateur golfer that really wants to work on their golf swing, especially when you talk about wrist angles are primarily the singular base for understanding what club face is doing and what the tendencies of club face is doing, impact, and it comes from your wrist and how you use all your 6 movements within the wrist throw. So 6, yeah. Pronation, supination, you got ulnar deviation, radial deviation, and flexion and extension. So you got 6 different ways your hands or your wrist can move. And so understanding what's happening within the swing, within impact at the top of your backswing, where you're putting in extension or anything else like that, where you're going wrong, this thing is potentially very, very good. And so I'm going to give it a proper good go because obviously, well, the benefits that this could possibly give is profound when it comes to the technically minded amateur, the non-technically minded amateur, because they do it in a way which is fairly simple for individuals to understand, and the person who wants to get better within realms of their coach as well. Because if you even if you bought this yourself, I'm not saying you should do all that, but look, I believe, generally speaking, I mean, there's 3 tiers to this HackMotion. And so you've got 3 different levels of cost that if you wanted to invest in it, yeah, definitely you can do, and it obviously gives you like different levels of functionality. But the lower tier, you can quite easily get enough information there for the vast majority of a lot of the faults that you get within wrist angles. So you don't have to go to the full hog to make it work. So Perry says MotorCaddy M3 Pro, good choice. MotorCaddy are very, very good on their customer service. I have worked with MotorCaddy for many, many years, and they're exceptional when it comes to their customer service. They are very, very customer driven and very, very good when it comes to any form of customer issue. So generally speaking, you've made a very, very good decision there, Perry. Well done. Neil says, Perry, I got a MotorCaddy M7 remote 2 years ago. My pals were first laughing, then very soon became envious. I tested the S7 remote and it's blooming good. It really is. I would have an M7 remote on the basis of just how good it is, and it is very, very good. The problem is, the reason why I don't have an M7 remote, and it is purely this, is because I don't get a chance to play golf as much as I would like because I'm just busy. I've managed to play golf or do golf twice this year so far because I've just been busy. And so it sits there doing 2/3 of chuff all for quite some time, and then I've got to remember to do everything with it. And it's just so, I've got my bag there with my stand bag with all my golf clubs in it. I can just pick it up and go. But yeah. And last week, one of the couples both ordered one each. You're good. Yeah, I agree. The M7 remote is very, very good. And you've got an M3 Pro. You'll also, there's an M series as well, which means it packs up into the smallest possible space. It's good. Good choice. Eric, look forward to the HackMotion review and interested to see how much it helps you at your level. Me, it won't help me at all, I'll be honest. It'll help me coach, absolutely would do. I would say within custom fitting, I mean, again, a custom fitting and a coaching session, a custom fitting session is one of the same thing. A lot of pros will disagree with me, I know, but my own personal belief is that you work with the individual, it's a complete whole picture. If you're there for a custom fit, you need to be looking at the individual as well, because when an individual has a quite clear, glaringly obvious swing fault, which they are looking to fix, but they want the custom fitting, if you do not look at what kind of swing fault they've got and how to fix it, and then what that would then mean for their new set of golf clubs when it comes to specification wise, then you are not, as far as I believe in anyway, you're not doing the service as you should do to the client. What you need to be doing is you need to be making them aware that there are easy wins to be had, give them an opportunity to see what those wins will be, and for them to make the decision. No different when it comes to a coaching session. You go into a coaching session, and if you purely just look at the individual and not look at what equipment they are using and how it affects them when it comes to impact and then when it comes to patterns within their results, then you're not, again, doing the service to the client. It is a thing that they're using, and so there needs to be a holistic approach when you are doing such a thing. So, but for my level, I've looked at it and I've used it quite a few times now, and I've seen certain patterns within my game and my swing. Because of the nature of the club face control that I have is generally speaking fairly good. The fact that I go from initial slight extension because of my slightly stronger grip to what is old school normal, then what I'm effectively doing, I actually go from a slight amount of extension to start with, and then actually the top of my backswing I go into more extension. Why I go into more extension is because I'm looking at trying to get lag angle, and I can't stand the words or the phrase lag angle, that retained angle that I'm trying to get into radial deviation. Yeah, so you get like that. Yeah, I'm trying to get that up the top there, but when I can get that up on the top there, I can get that better if I go into a slight amount of extension as well. So I'm trying to get this angle, very difficult to get on camera, I'm trying to get this angle. God, I can't do it when it's back to front and back to front. There we go, there you go. I'm trying to get this angle here, yeah? I can get more if I was then to do that, yeah? So I add extension to gain more radial deviation, which gives me more lag angle. Can't stand the term, but you kind of get my drift. And then I take that out as I'm going, and I generally take off 15 degrees or so of extension into flexion, although I'm rarely into flexion at all. I'm just more neutral, but I'm taking loft off. So that's the whole idea of it anyway. I've tried to become more PGA Tour-like when it comes to how I do things. But again, there's so many different players on the PGA Tour that do something differently. I mean, I'm like Shane Lowry. I've got a very similar swing when it comes to how I use my wrist angles to Shane Lowry. So, and he's fairly good. But yeah, there you go. So, Abstract AV said, would you recommend the hack motion to be used with a Golf Pro? Yes. Or could I use it by myself? Yes, both, absolutely. If you, depending on what level and how much you want to invest in doing it, because there are 3 different tiers, you'll get different functionality. You'll get a different level of functionality between the 3 different tiers. So if you go the lowest tier, I think all you get is effectively you get you get extension and flexion, which is still, when it comes to golf faux pas, that is by far the biggest wrist angle which is causing issues when it comes to individuals, when it comes to club face control anyway. And then you've got, then as soon as you go up into the tiers, you get different levels of things, and then obviously pro level you can put it on the lead hand for a right-handed golfer, and then the trail hand when it comes to right-handed golf as well. Obviously if you're left-handed golfer you put it around the other way, but you kind of get my drift. You can put it on both, and obviously there are areas of where you need to look at when it comes to the pro side of things, where you've got obviously trail and lead hand measuring, and there are certain parameters that you are looking to get, because you can go either tabular data, you can go tiles, you can kind of go graph as well if you want to see where you're deviating away from where you should. I mean, it's a very, very good piece of kit, but primarily it's going to be for the golfer, the avid golfer, the golfer that's going to be looking to get better when they understand that it's their wrist angles that are causing them issues. And the great thing is, because obviously it's live, it gives you constant feedback and straight away feedback what your wrist angles are doing at any point. And so if the Golf Pro was to want to invest in it and then obviously use that with multiple people, that's the whole idea of doing it. I would hope that they would invest in the Pro Series. It's the most expensive, but it's the one that's going to be, it's got putting analysis in there as well. Obviously in putting we don't want a huge amount of wrist angle. We want soft hands as such, but we don't want a flicky, so you can actually see straight away. We don't want to see huge amounts of numbers go change and graphs go up and down when it comes to putting. But I mean, it does many, many different things as well. So Perry says, my junior daughter is going to use the M3 when we play together. I fear an M7 remote may end up in a bunker or water hazard in her hands. Most probably might be correct. Yes, you are, because when you get used to them, and you do have to get used to them, they are an amazing piece of kit, and Neil's done the exact right thing getting one, because they are brilliant. Although the problem is they are £1,100, £1,000 of such, and when you're talking about that amount of money, one, you've got to really know that it works. Two, you've got to really know that you're going to use it, and three, difficult sometimes to get across to an individual just how good it is and the fact that they are going to gain the use of it. It's one of those ones that really you think Motor Caddy would be a really good idea if in every single account, or that would cost them a fortune, but if every single account that they had, every single golf course that has a Motor Caddy account, if they put an M7 remote demo one in that the membership could use. Not as in, if you're generally looking at something like that, go on, take this, take it out for 9 holes or whatever, and tell me what you think. Inevitably, the first 3 holes, they're going to be crashing it into everything because they don't know how to use it, because you're going to go straight onto the golf course. I would always say, first of all, play with it in your back garden or whatever, so you don't go crashing it into things. But inevitably, it will do, and it will go. But by the time they come back from the 9th hole, or even that full 18, doesn't matter. That they've got used to using it, and then they've just realised just how good it is. And so it's not a gimmick. It is a very expensive tool, but it's well worth the money. It really is. If you're going to be thinking about spending multiple hundreds of pounds on an electric trolley anyway, and as some of these ones that you're going for, like for the M5 GPS and stuff like that, they are very, very close anyway, within reason, to how much that an M7 remote would be anyway. So it's not too much of a stretch more, but I can understand why it's difficult for people, because obviously with the cost of living crisis that we are facing at the moment, it's a hard press sometimes for people to justify the expenditure, of which I understand and agree. But there we go. Any other questions? Charlie Oscar Kilo Echo coming up. Just in case I'm not allowed to say the word. Trademark copyright or something or other. Should be able to, really, as long as I don't say the full 2-word beforehand. Neil says, the M7 saves my back and have me more fresh at the end of the round. Yeah, and the remote part frees me up to walk over and help looking for balls. Yes, that does, absolutely it does. And there is something very, very good about just being able to send it off on there and then stopping it, and the range is very, very good. And with the M7 remote, as soon as it runs out of range, it just stops anyway. So, Abstract AV says, wish I didn't spend the extra for the Motor Caddy GPS. Trolley's fine, but the GPS is not good on my courses. My issue with GPS anyway is that I use a laser rangefinder, and I'll be honest, I use them. I'm going to tell you what, I'll show you. I'll show you exactly what I use. I'll get it off the little clip of my bag. Come on, there we go. I use the, was it S3000 Pro or S300 Pro or whatever it's called. I was gonna, and I need to do a review of this really, because it is very, very, very good. Being honest, it is. So, little case you have, and obviously you have the, when you're playing, so normally when I'm not playing, it's done up. So you've got your zips and stuff like that, so you can keep it all nice and zipped up and out of the way. You've got your little tag there that goes onto the bag. It's quite a robust thing. Ow, sharp as well. But then when you're playing, what you do is you undo the zips, and so you've got the clamshell kind of open and like that, so you can go like that. And then because this is attached to your bag on there, I'll just get this area here and I'll just pop it over the top, so it keeps it nice and secure. It's not coming undone at all because of that little popper there. See, there you go, popped off. So then you can go get this out. This stays on the bag, job done. But for the case, I'll put it down. So the Pro 3000, sounds like Knight Rider, doesn't it? But yeah, comment below if you remember Knight Rider. Different household off. Anyway, so Motor Caddy's Pro 3000 is a tiny little piece of kit. It's not very big whatsoever. So compared to a Bushnell, modern day Bushnell, it's slightly smaller than a modern day Bushnell. It still has a 7x zoom. So when you look through, I will look through. Go on, where this is. Yeah, looking at you, looking at, yeah, that's, yeah, anyway. It's got 7x zoom. So when you're looking at something, obviously it makes it look, kind of get the picture, yeah. But it's also got slope on it as well. So you can do the slope function. You can turn the slope function off if you wish. It's got jolt technology, what you would see from Bushnell, as in the case it vibrates when it hits the pin. Is it to the half a yard or so? It's ridiculous anyway. And it's cheaper. This is the thing, right? I've been brought up on Bushnells. I've had Bushnells all my playing time. I've used laser, and it wasn't until this thing came out that I thought I would give it a go, because one thing I've always said when it comes to the Bushnells are brilliant, like properly brilliant, but they're not cheap. And I was waiting for a manufacturer like Motor Caddy to come up with this, effectively, a Bushnell beater. Yep, Bushnell beater that beats it on price by some margin as well. And this thing is amazing. It really is. And more people should be buying these rather than Bushnells. Bushnells make brilliant products. They really do. And they've paved the way when it comes to laser rangefinders. And if you buy a Bushnell, you are still going to get an absolutely premium, properly good piece of kit. The only reason that I would suggest this over a Bushnell, the only reason, is price, because this does every single thing that a Bushnell does, but it's cheaper. And I've been using this quite a bit, and it's still in the same condition. It's bounced a few times, not on the floor, not on concrete floor. I haven't dropped it on concrete floor, but again, and it's just robust, and it's good. It's good rubber in the hands. It's smaller as well, so that means it sits in there. I used to have one that I used to hold like this, which actually I preferred a little bit, I'll be honest. But it's still, yeah, it's just getting used to certain different things. It's just good. So that is an option for the people that are interested in laser rangefinders. That's why I don't do GPS, because I like laser. I like to know exactly what I'm targeting, what I am pinning, and the fact that it's exactly where it is, rather than GPS can be out naturally because of the nature of GPS. Neil says, bag is made exactly like the Bushnell. What, the clamshell? Your whole golf bag opens like, yeah. Barry Mason, I use the ShotScope X5 and a ShotScope rangefinder, both come up with the same distance. That's interesting, that's good. Ow. Neil says, kits, red running lights were cool in the day. They still are cool now, Niels, they are. Don't care what anyone says. If I could have them on my car, if I was allowed to, I would do. Abstract AV says, so pleased you mentioned that. I got my really old Bushnell V2 and been looking for ages to get one with slope. I'm going to look at the 3000 Defo at £200. Cheers, pal. Yeah, they were normally £250. They are, give or take, but you can get deals from time to time, and they are a rock solid choice. Can't remember what batteries they use. I'll have to have a look at what batteries they use. I can't remember now, but I don't know, because still on the same battery, so it doesn't really use it that much. It is very good, so there you go. Right, what else would people like to talk about? If anything, not anything, because we can always depart should we need. Charlie Oscar Kilo Echo coming up. Right. Okay, so if everyone is ready, not ready, or I will disappear. Neil says, I had a Subaru Legacy and was seriously investigating if I could build in red running lights in the intercooler intake. Oh yeah, that would look good. I mean, that's sad, don't get it wrong, it would look sad. Many people would find that, like my wife gorgeous that she is and amazing that she is, just find stuff like that just the biggest turn off ever. The classic thing, you know, I mean, we've got somewhere, and I don't know, for the UK people that are watching this, we have a seaside town fairly close to me, within about 56, about 60 miles, called Great Yarmouth. And Great Yarmouth is a fairly popular beach seaside resort where you've got a big seafront, and that big seafront is fairly pedestrianised as time's gone on. You obviously you drive up and down it, you've got there, and it's separated in the middle, but you drive up and then you drive back down again. And these boy racers, they work all week to afford the petrol that they will burn on the weekends driving up and down the seafront with their huge exhausts, their stereos blaring. They accelerate between speed bumps, you know, kind of like pedestrian areas where pedestrians cross the road. They accelerate really hard. The exhaust going bum 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 like that, and they love it. And they look like they've crashed through a store of Halfords. Now Halfords, I'm not quite sure what the equivalent is in America, but Halfords is a store here which is an automotive store which you can buy exhausts and stuff like that. And so it's joked that they look like they've crashed through a store of Halfords because they've got things just bolted to them left, right and centre. But there you go. But you're right, kit was great. Is aged as time has gone on? I must admit it has aged. However, was it turbo mode? Can't remember turbo mode, when all these bits like fronts came out, sides came out, spoilers went up. And every single person who knows about aerodynamics knows that if that was actually the case, it would go slower. But there you go. It's great for TV. Brilliant for TV. Right, everybody. I'm about to, unless people are going to go do a volley of questions, I'm going to depart. I'm quite happy to stay if people want to give me a volley of questions, but apart from that, I will probably finish this off, and then I will go back on to just quickly editing the last bit of the video that I did, which is frustrating today. The video I did today with using Hack Motion was frustrating. It wasn't for the fact that this was frustrating, it was the fact that because I've got no form of being able to get the screen that you get with Hack Motion from my phone. I mean, I've even thought about sticking it onto an iPad, but then how do I get an iPad to a TV and all this like, and it was difficult. So then I thought, well, I can get my phone, I get the screen up on my phone, I can then obviously, I can Chromecast that to the TV. But I can't then put the Chromecast from the TV, I can't just put that into my capture device because of HDCP, high definition copyright protection or something like that. And so what I've had to do is then put it on my phone, get it on my phone, and screen record the phone, and then download that from my phone onto the PC and put it on this post. You know, it's these complicated things are a pain in the backside. And then sometimes it will record and then not. So I did a video, I've done 2 videos, and it hasn't recorded the footage on my phone. So every single time I'm referencing something on the video, you won't be able to see it because it didn't record it. And so I had to redo the video. I don't know how many times. It is frustrating. Just so on my little light decided it wanted to fall over, which is frustrating, but it's fine. And yeah, so I've done the same video, I don't know how many times today. So there you go. Welcome to the world of YouTube. Right, if everyone is finished, I will disappear because we've had some good chats, some bits and pieces like that. And I just want to say thank you very, very much for the people. I'll just go over to, have I got the view activity or is this still not going to work? I'll go back on the old way. Hang on a second. I just want to say thank you very much to basically Niels, and I want to say thank you very much to Abstract AV for your very, very kind donation. It does mean a lot when people do that. It really, really does. And so, yeah, just wanted to say thanks. Because again, when it comes to doing this, until I get all the memberships sorted out and then see how it goes, it's small, but it makes a difference. It really does. Eric, thanks Jay. No, thank you Eric for joining in. Anyway, right, so I'm going to pop off now. I hope everyone enjoyed that. We started off with the open live stream, chat about the Waggles. We chatted about the Waggles for quite a bit, and then we're talking about other bits and pieces, as we always do when it comes to doing live streams. We always, generally speaking, get off the topic, but doesn't matter. The whole idea is that we go on whatever topic every individual wants me to go through. So we're quite happy to talk about anything that you want to talk about. But so if I'll give a 30-second warning as such, a countdown for people to get their questions in should they wish. I'm quite happy to stay here for as long as people need to, as long as people have got questions they want me to answer. So you've got a 30-second countdown. So if you want to get your, I need a 30-second countdown timer, don't we? And then it refreshes, or a minute. We refresh after every single comment, it refreshes. That would be a good one. I'm sure stream bots, stream elements can do something like that. Spend time doing that. Although one good thing I have to say when it comes to cameras, this is not going to, well, this is the internal side of YouTube, which no one needs to really know. But my main camera that I'm using here, which is a 4K camera, so it gives me a crisp image, and they're no different to my other camera, which I've got on the side there, which gives me that image that you see when it comes to watching my videos. The side one, where it has the field of view big enough that I can then superimpose the picture of delivery on the screen and then move it into the projected image, because that camera on the side there is got a big enough field of view so it can take into account all that and see that. But over the last X amount of time, really, I've been getting a certain amount of interference between LED lights that we have, or I have around here, to try and make my gorgeous face glow. Yeah. But, and when it comes to screens and stuff like that, because obviously I will try to run a 4K system and then run at 60 frames a second, but then I've got lights like my LED light here, which I try, and I've got LED lights obviously all around, and they interfere. And because I'm running a 60 Hertz system when it comes to my screens and my 4K projector, that does not go well with a 50 Hertz UK power system. So you get a mismatch. And so sometimes, not all times, but sometimes I pick up like a pop like that. You see the floor like pulses with light. I can get around that in post. I can get around that with a flicker-free plug-in as such, but it's very, very labor-intensive on the computer, and it takes longer to process, longer to render and encode, and so I'm trying to fix it, because if I don't get my work for the day done by about 3:30 in the afternoon, because I need to edit it, finish editing, excuse me, YouTube Winnie Pops, and get it uploaded. Yeah, but so hopefully now I've figured it out and everything will be flicker free. Yeah, so everything should be in line. You might get to see, I don't know, that's fairly solid. Okay, that's good. So that means that's now running at the same frame rate that that's running at, which is good, and won't get any vertical banding, which is even better. That's the kind of stuff that people don't really appreciate when they're watching stuff. The amount of hours that I spend having to mess around with trying to get cameras, multiple cameras, working with multiple light sources and multiple different things when it comes to TVs, and projectors and stuff like that. The stuff that people don't care about. That happens anyway. So, right, so no one has asked any more questions, so in that case I will take it that everyone wants to go to bed for the night. I was quite happy to stay here for as long as anyone wants, but as long as no one else, what's this little slider do? Don't know what that little slider does. As long as no one's got any other questions, I will knock it on the head now and then concentrate on spending another hour or so before they go home, and do some more of the editing of the stuff I did today. But I will be doing another video this week. I've got to try and get another video done, so I've got enough videos for this week in its entirety, because I got the Cobra Forge Tech X video coming tomorrow night, then the video I've done today for the night after, and the video I've got to do tomorrow for the night after that, for Thursday. That means I'll have one video for 5 nights this week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then between now and next week, I've got to have a video for Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, because I'm on holiday next week, so I've got to do that and preempt everything and get it all settled up. And yeah, so no live stream next Monday because I'm on holiday. And then I will, after I come back from holiday, I will be doing a video, and then after that, possibly the video will be on Sunday. I'll do the Sunday video, possibly, not sure, yeah. And that will be the membership video. That will be the clickbaity membership video to get it out there for everybody to see. So it will be a clickbaity title. It will be very much so a mysterious thumbnail and all this stuff for trying to make any random subscriber who's got the bell on, got to get the bell on, look at it, because I need to. Everyone needs to be aware, everyone needs to have the opportunity to know. So it's not a clickbaity for any other reason, to make sure that people know, because if they don't know, then if they do want to drop into a live stream and it comes up access denied or whatever it will come up as, then they won't, obviously they won't be able to log on to the live stream. But if they know, they can make a decision before they try and log on and get access denied, because it's only for members only. But we'll mess around with that one after the holiday of next week, and then we'll come back on the Monday, and then that will be possibly go live from then, but we'll see. We'll still keep it open for the first week or two whilst enough people see, and then we will then, yeah, we'll go for that. So, right, anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the time, had some good questions. I had had a couple of very, very, very kind donations. Thank you very, very much. That means the world to me. Thank you. And then we will catch everyone, not next week, but the week after, so 2 weeks time. And it will be the first start of the memberships. We'll run the memberships for about a month to get enough people in. Then a month after that, to see how the memberships are doing. If after that memberships aren't working properly for enough people, I'll knock everything on their head within a certain date, so everyone will know exactly when that month is going to finish and all stuff like this. So everyone is fully aware. But we'll see how things go, because I do like the idea of being able to give a certain amount of people special access, access to certain things that are going on. There's a lot of exciting products that are going to be launched very, very soon, and having the memberships allows me to be able to potentially showcase a few of the lovely little pieces of kit which are coming out early, so people get a sneak peek. So yeah, right guys, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for your chats, your comments, your questions. I'm pleased that I've managed to answer every single one. No one's as yet posed a technical question which I haven't as yet been able to answer. I do really want someone at one point to pose a question, a physics question from a point of view of within golf, a technical question within golf that does me in. I love a good research kind of opportunity, so if you can, that would be much appreciated. So thank you very much. I will catch everyone in 2 weeks. Plenty of content to come this week, plenty of content hopefully to come next week while I'm on holiday, and then it'll be like rush like mad the week after that, trying to get content out because I won't have anything in the bag. So thank you very much guys, it's been a pleasure as always, and we'll catch everyone on the other side of my holiday.